A new report finds employee confidence rebounded in July, rising to the highest level since April. That is when the president's liberation tariff announcements first cast a shadow over the economic outlook. And data from the Glassdoor Employee Confidence Index found the share of employees reporting a positive 6-month business outlook jumped to just about 46% last month. That is up from a record low of about 44% in June. But with new tariffs set to take effect tomorrow, analysts are wondering if last month's confidence boost will soon fall again. Joining us now in studio is Glassdoor's chief economist, Daniel Zhao. And Daniel, thanks so much for being with us. You know, we're talking to you after we saw quite the headline-grabbing jobs report on Friday. So what drove this boost in overall employee confidence last month?
Well, I think it's interesting because the data we're seeing from employees is very similar to the data we got from the jobs report for July. We did see that the July numbers were actually a little bit better than May and June, but really what surprised us about the jobs report was those downward revisions to May and June, which is exactly what we saw with Glassdoor data, where employee confidence in May and June actually set consecutive record lows. So clearly, employees are still feeling pretty sour about the job market right now, even if there is a little bit of a rebound as we head into July.
Are there certain industries that led this rebound in confidence, though?
I think it's interesting because you do see a little bit of a mixed bag, right? So some of the consumer spending-based sectors like restaurants, food services, travel, they saw a little bit of an increase in July. But when you look back over the last year, there is a little bit more pessimism there. So restaurants and food services, retail, some of these more local consumer spending sectors have declined over the last year, whereas others like hotels or entertainment have increased and improved over the last year. So what might be going on here is that higher income consumers are more resistant to some of the economic headwinds we're seeing. They're still able to spend on travel, whereas some of those lower income consumers are having a harder time spending locally at restaurants and such.
Obviously, I mean, not obviously, but you know, this report doesn't just look at every single person in different ways in the same way. At what level of seniority did we see perhaps the greatest gains in confidence?
So in July, we have seen a little bit of an increase for entry-level workers and mid-level workers. So that might be a little bit surprising to people who have heard kind of the difficulty that new grads have faced in today's job market, and also with middle managers as well, especially as many companies trim management layers and lay off some of those middle managers. And I think, again, this just reiterates that we have seen a little bit of an improvement in July, but it's still fairly low by historical standards. When we look at entry-level workers and mid-level workers, they tend to be a lot less optimistic about their businesses than senior level workers.
I find all this fascinating to see where the mindset of people is right now. What do you think is the biggest takeaway here?
Well, I think the issue that we're facing right now is some of these economic headwinds that we've been talking about for months are starting to turn into storm force winds. So as the job market slows down more dramatically, we've seen that employee sentiment has grown more sour, and that's definitely a concern as we head into the rest of the year, as we expect some of these headwinds like tariffs to start to accumulate and to start have more of an impact on the job market.
All right, Daniel Zhao, thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate your insight.